Hey guys, Phoenix Spring Tarot. So where do we start? Where do we start with this? Firstly, my thoughts and well wishes are with Liam's family and close friends and all who knew him and held him dear right now. This is such a tragedy that's rocked everyone to their core. And to an extent, when I've heard a lot of the press coverage on this, I felt slightly protective and perhaps even angry when people throw generalizations of, oh, it's just another boy band, it's another failed pop star. Because for us in the UK, the relationship we have with One Direction is different. And perhaps I'm generalizing, but I'm of the generation that sat in front of the telly on a Saturday night watching X Factor and voting for them to get through. So for us, we saw the guys, we saw the backgrounds, we saw the stress of them being in photos. Like, we saw all of this stuff. So I guess that's how you bond with them in a way. And I don't want to generalize again, but for you guys on the other side of the pond and perhaps the rest of the world, you guys see a pop band, you know, I don't know, but for us, and perhaps I'm speaking only for myself, for me, it's just different because we've seen where they've started from. But then again, and my spirit guides are just having me channel this, even for those in the States and around the world, their allure is, yes, they're cute, they have good songs, and they're a cute boy band, but they just have an element of being, when they were together, of being just good fun, of just brotherhood. And they had a sense of humility about them, which was really endearing. And they didn't wear it on their sleeve, but it's an energy when you think about it, especially in the climate we have in 2024, when a lot of truths be coming out and karma is on every street corner. It's just something you reflect on, and you could see the purity and the value, and you could sense the goodness of it. It's just wholesome and good. Such a far cry from the type of celebrities we have around now. So this is so sad. It really tears my heart. I don't have any questions to start this off. I will just see what comes through. I had started, seeing, getting the cards ready, shuffling, and these two came through, actually. The Four of Swords and the Eight of Cups. Interesting, right? But let's get started. Spirit guides, guardian angels of the highest light, of the highest frequency, please protect myself, please protect and bless those viewing this reading. May we only channel messages of the highest divine frequency, of the highest truth, of the highest accuracy, of the highest and purest and good light. Please provide us with messages and insight on this situation, nuanced messages to help broaden our perspective, to help give us peace, and to help broaden our perspective and awareness and our ability to just love and be considerate and kind towards each other. Yeah. What deck do I want? Let's continue with this. Okay. Oh gosh, that just, where did that go? Oh my gosh, guys. Okay. A lot of this is, when someone, okay, I should put a trigger warning on this. I'm just going to say that if you know that you're going to find this triggering, like talking about death and passing on and depression and so on, and if you know you're going to find this triggering, this perhaps is not the reading for you. Please take responsibility for your mental, emotional, physical, and all health, right? And all messages in this reading, as with all messages on my channel, they are alleged. These three cards, and this one that just shot on the floor that I had to bend down and get, and look, this one was turned over because I was shuffling and these two came through. They are all like, that's it now. Like, I'm ready to leave here. I'm ready to go. The world is talking about the end of your cycle. You're turning your back on the world and you're moving on to another plane, moving on to another dimension. Again, the Eight of Cups. This is you leaving, and there's something about him hunched over, and we'll come back to that in a moment. And of course we know what this is. You're literally lying down on a coffin. And in the background here, under the deck, we have celebration. No, we have a 4 here, which is talking about stability. We have another 4 here, we have an 8. Okay, I'm going to deliver these fire fast. With this 8 of Cups, I don't know where to start with this, guys. It's like the messages are there, but they're just in my throat. Okay, let's do this. I think the extent to which people struggle, is really interesting. It's like he had been struggling for a very, very, very long time. And there's something about show business that they're showing me and they're saying to me where, in terms of having people around you that you can trust, that you can lean on, I'm channeling his energy now, and it's just there's something of a coldness. There's something that fame does to you. It's not so much being addicted to fame per se, but it's what fame does to the people around you, how it changes the people around you. Like, people around you associate you with a good time and they associate you with success, but no one really looks in and sees the actual you. Or even if they do, there's that he's telling me shallowness and coldness is what the conversations are like. It's like if the conversations lack a depth, and there's also a lack of trust of people around you. That's why the boy band was, because they had each other, that they could trust on each other, they could lean on each other. They were each other's confidants because they knew what the process was like and what they were going through. So when you don't have that support anymore, what do you do with yourself? Who do you communicate with? Who do you trust? What do you do? Also with this card, I'm channeling that when you're on top of the world and when you're doing well and all this sort of stuff, the drug is not so much fame, at least for him, not so much the fame in itself, but the drug is having people, hang on, let me make sure I get this right. The drug is being needed and being wanted by the people who matter, by the people who count. But it's a validation that is tapping into a deeper wound with him. And that's the deeper wound of being seen, being heard, being acknowledged, being liked. Have I described that well? By the people in the know. Like, you can have the fans loving you and everything else, that's one thing. But there's another layer, there's a validation of the bosses, there's validation of the people on top. Those are the people who can make or break you and your career and that sort of thing. And that's what you really seek. That's what you really want. They are the ones who determine what's relevant, what's not, whether you're good enough, whether you're not. I'm being told here, and this may come out, but this is, this may come out because we have him lying on a sword. Or there may be information that may never come out. But this is not the first time that there has been an incident where he's danced close to death. It's not the first time. I'm being told here. There's also a sense of chasing that high. I'm watching before chasing the high, I'm watching the flies across the swords. It's like he has been on a very slow downward spiral for quite a while. If there were people around, and hang on, let me get this right. Yes, thank you. If there were people around him who cared, or who understood it on that deeper level, they could have captured it. Like flies or ravens had started gathering around him for quite a while now. They directed me to the stained glass window, and it's as if it's chasing that high of what you view your ideal life as being. It's having that, it's like trying to pursue that or reminiscing of it, of when you're in front of a crowd and celebrating and not quite having that. So there is, with this devil card, right next to the Four of Wands, You know, that's the thing. That's what I was saying. Like in front of us, we see them hands in the air performing. They're performing in front of a crowd, but behind it is that control. And this is what I was referring to earlier. So I won't delve into this devil so much. But there's a manipulation of people's fame is fickle. You're up one minute, you're down the next. And yeah, that's one thing. But it's the way people in power manipulate and use that and hang that over people's heads. That's the nasty and disgusting part of all of this. I'm being told as well, if you only knew what they as a band went through and what people go through, you're not even viewed as a person, you're viewed as a commodity, as a thing. And you wouldn't think so, but that's just what I'm being told, and I'm tapping into his energy now. Even though things were just too much, again with the 10, it's just a burden. He also had an issue of someone that he really, really loved, that he felt was his soulmate. I'm seeing a broken heart here with this 2 of Cups. This is someone that got away. So even if you want to leave this all behind and just start a family and settle down, and it's as if he had issues with that, with the 2 of Cups here. He knew who he wanted to settle down with, who he was fated to settle down with, but it's as if he couldn't make that work. You can't trust what's real and what's a mirage. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Interestingly, in what he wanted was to settle down. That's just what I'm saying. You have the two of Cups, and like the 2 of Cups meeting each other, having a bond. This is my soulmate. This is my life partner. This is what I wanted to be with that person. They're giving me in my head Cheryl Cole. So Cheryl Cole is, in fact, Cheryl Cole was one of the judges who selected and helped, and I believe she helped put the boy band together, or it's either he auditioned and she met him and then he auditioned again, or something along those lines. But yeah, that's what he wanted. I can't remember, but it would be interesting to find out if it was Cheryl that broke up with him, because they were together for sure. For sure they were together. We have this interesting 6 of Pentacles under the deck. People don't see you for you, they see you for what they can get from you. And that's, yeah. Okay, so dare I say, let's go into that day. Let's go into that day. I believe it was Argentina was here, and he was at the hotel and he fell. Let's go into that day. If we want to. I don't want to, like, if it is appropriate, let's say. If it is appropriate. Thank you. I am not picking up as I'm shuffling. He was just showing me through his eyes what had happened. And to be fair, it was daytime because I'm seeing that it's day. I'm seeing almost like everything was a haze for him. Strength below the dead. It's as if everything was a haze, because the image I'm seeing is the image of, I'm not seeing clearly, it's like the edges are blurred and the vision feels like it has a film over it, and they're showing me like his hotel room and that sort of thing. They may corroborate this, but there were 3, sorry, when I shuffle it helps me channel, just so that you know, if no cards are coming out, but I'm channeling, right? There were at least, I think they said that there were at least 3 people in the room. I'm seeing that now. 2 women. I don't know if this has been released or not, but forgive me if it has. My apologies if I'm being redundant in this information. You know what I'm seeing through the haze though? It's as if everything he was seeing around him was blurry, but there was a bright light on top of him. Whether he was hallucinating or not, there was like a bright light shining on him. There's almost like a release and a relaxation. There is something of being ready to go, him feeling that he was ready to go. But at the same time, okay, I'm going to say this phrase. I don't know how accurate this is. but momentary lapse of judgment or being caught up in a moment and following a light. And I'm seeing a very bright light just above his head. I don't feel at the moment of going over that he knew what was happening. That's what I'm picking up on. I feel that there is a moment of being in the air, of going or feeling a banister, of going over something and being in the air. I don't feel that he quite knew or was quite cognizant of what was going on. Yeah, we have the Wheel of Fortune. This was something by chance. It was something in the moment here. I don't, and when you're under the influence with the devil, he was there partying, because we have the Four of Swords, Four of Wands, we have people partying. Devil, this is under the influence of like substances, that sort of thing that could alter with the devil, that could alter your perception of what is. So we have that devil coming up next door, Wheel of Fortune. This is just a chance, freak, snap thing. People that would be saying it's suicide, it's whatever, I'm not picking that up here. It's interesting how this works, because I'm saying that there was a moment where he saw a light and there was a moment decision, but not because someone makes a moment decision. It's like, yes, I'm ready, I'm hearing that, but still it wasn't. I'm not picking up suicide here. I'm not picking up suicide here. I'm not getting anything with this woman. I'm not picking up if they think it was that. So did he jump or was he pushed? Let's ask that. They are going to, if they haven't done so already, they're going to start rounding up the people who were involved in this. And questioning people. The people who supplied the drugs, it's like a well-known contact. Cartel is not the right term, but it's a group that, it's whoever supplied him the drugs have very, very good connections where he is. They have connections in the police. They pay off a lot of people. Their tentacles run very deep. This wasn't supposed to happen. This really wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't meant to happen. They're in big trouble. I'm seeing people being paid off, and some people are turning the other way. It's as if the truth, that I wasn't getting a message about this before, but now I have it. It's as if the truth about these people would come through, like someone's looking over on these people. It's like almost as if their time is up, basically. You know, this again, it's karma. You know, it's karma being released. Like mental health issues are also coming through with him, again, with that bandaged head. Okay, now what happened on that night? Like, were they responsible for it? Was it something that they had purposely or intentionally done to him? Let's ask that question, because you just, oh gosh. Guys, look at that, Hangman, that just came through. And even by the Hangman, I was seeing a Judgment card again. Okay. Yeah, people know what happened for sure. Whether they release it, what happened or not, well, they've released the autopsy reports and everything else. But yeah, and this is the thing, this is what I said before, that they're going to get the information on this is going to be released, right? It is going to be released from the people who were involved here, who saw him with that Hangman go over. I'm picking up with this energy that he was just on another level and out of control, out of all control. It was a really bad batch and a bad batch of drugs and a bad trip. However, what I'm picking up is that with this Ace of Pentacles and this High Priestess, there is more, that it's as if the people who supplied the drugs, one or two of them were there partying with him. That's another thing that has come through. So he was partying with the people who supplied him the stuff. With this High Priestess about that higher knowledge, sorry guys, just a moment. They should have been able to see the signs that he was completely off it. They should have been able to see those signs. Let me just make sure you can see everything. Okay, let's continue. And they could have, I'm being told, called a doctor. Like someone should have called, I think they called the police, but someone should have called a doctor, and this is before he went over. Someone should have called a doctor. Like there is something that's... There was a woman in his life that he really, really loved, and that pained him. It pained him, it pained him, it pained him. He just felt at all angles, yeah, in his soul and in his spirit, he was just done. It was just rejection. It was just getting the short end of the stick from all angles. Being betrayed by people, things becoming too much of a burden. It's an instantaneous decision, but hang on. So what did these people do? Let's not go around in circles. What did these people do who were in the room with him? The thing is, what I'm struggling with this reading is that I'm seeing him go over the banister. It looks as... thank you. I'm seeing him go over the banister as if he wants to go over the banister. But it's either hallucinating or in a really bad way. I see someone who was alive because they were saying he probably died before. I don't see that. I see someone who's alive when they went over the banister, but I feel that they were in a state of a trip or perhaps a hallucination, because I'm looking at it through his eyes and my vision seems very hazy, but there's a bright light. Even though it's hazy, there's a bright light that is behind him over his head. So if they said that he may have died on the way down or before he landed or something like that, I wouldn't be surprised if something in his body was happening, right? We have the Strength card again. I wouldn't be surprised if something in his body may have been happening, or he may have had an adverse reaction in his body in parallel and in addition to the hallucinating and all of that. I wouldn't be surprised if that was happening. They're telling me that he should have been put. This woman who keeps on coming up. There's some, okay, I'm going to call it. There's some woman who was in his party, the group of people. There's a woman who was quite prominent, and it's a woman who either was responsible for being the intermediary for getting the drugs to him, but there was a woman, a mature woman, who is heavily involved in this. We may see her arrested. I'm just putting it out there because this woman keeps on coming up, and I just don't get the message, but this woman keeps on coming up. There is also in that party a man. They appear to be, they're showing me as if they're younger, but it's either the mules are younger so that they could party with him, but the people behind the mules are older, is what I'm picking up on. But it's as if there's going to be a cleanup of house. There may have been something wrong with the drugs as well, or it's the combination that he was taking that was just off. Look at the rough waters in the back. It was just off. It was making him unsettled. It was making him unbalanced. He had a reaction that he shouldn't have had to it. I don't see anything malicious or anything intentional to take his life. It's just people being negligent in terms of you supplying someone drugs. You're seeing someone, yeah, there's that woman again. This is what I'm saying. They're confirming this, the woman and the pill. Yeah, there's a woman who either is at the center of this, who they're going to arrest. We are going to find this out for sure. But they could have intervened with him sooner. Like it was clear he was having a bad trip. I think something in his body had started shutting down, and I think it was part of the hallucination, him going over the banister. By the time he hit the floor, I'm picking up that it was instantaneous as well. Yeah, it was a group of people around him, and yeah, I'm picking up that also that it was more or less instantaneous. But what it is as well is that end was, what a way to go. It's as if the way to go is how he felt about himself. It's just now a release and a relief. And it's like, I'm free. I don't need to deal with this anymore. How does Cheryl feel? How do people feel actually? Cheryl has been through a lot with Girls Aloud. Remember that girl? I can't remember the woman's name in Girls Aloud who also passed away. So she knows what that. She's feeling raw at the moment, absolutely raw, and in a really vulnerable place because she has to take care of their son, little bear. Oh my goodness, we have the World again. This came as a real shock and a real surprise to people. It was the last thing that they were expecting, particularly with the Moon. There are some people who also feel guilt because of it. It's as if they're saying they didn't know how bad this was, and they didn't know how bad things were. A lot of people are quite silent about this, but I think a lot of people are just in absolute just shock. He was in his 30s, and to go like that, a lot of people are just in shock. Also, a lot of details around this that we don't know at the moment, they are going to come through. It's not going to be one of these things that just get swept under the rug and then we forget about it. A lot of background stuff is going to start coming through. A lot of the stuff that I've mentioned here is going to start coming through in the next few weeks and months. All he wanted, and I'm going to finish on this, with the Ace of Cups, the Ten of Cups again, and a different deck, and the Three of Swords, all he wanted was love and a family. That's literally all he wanted, love and a family. Three of Swords, he just couldn't get it. He just couldn't get it. He just couldn't have someone love him the way he wanted to be loved, and just to love on someone else as well. He always felt like he was rejected or not good enough, and he could just never get it right. And he just couldn't get his head out of whatever all of this was. I don't know if that was any good. I don't know, but that's just what's come through. I'll leave it there. Bye.